Green Bay at Arizona, 6.5 and 50.5. Now, I've not checked this. I do this every game. I haven't checked in hours, but this is one I should look. Yeah, 6.5 and now 49.5. The over-under has gone down a point. And this was 3 to start the week. It was 3. And then I've not seen this a lot where a position player, not a quarterback, moves a number so much. Devontae Adams out. He's got COVID-19. And then Lazard is out now because he was not vaccinated. And so he's out because of the close contact rules. And Joe Barry, maybe even more importantly than all that, the defensive coach, he is out with COVID. And it's gone to 6.5. I have to pass on this game because I'm giving it out on Thursday Night Football, trying to start a new streak here. Maybe you guys could help me. Go ahead, Harry. Start us off Thursday night. 6.5. Is it too much? Not enough?
Well, I'll say this. No Watt, no problem for Cliff and the Cards. They get Chandler Jones back. They've got too many weapons on offense. I'm going to lay the points with Arizona. So many weapons. They're second in the NFL in points scored. They're first in the NFL in point differential, like you mentioned, Sal. A couple wide receivers down for Green Bay. I think the Arizona defense can key on Aaron Jones with the spot here. I think it's just a bad situation, bad spot for Green Bay here. Arizona stays undefeated, goes to 8-0, and they win big. They win by double digits.
Let's talk on an extra points with Damashek and Martin Weiss today. And if they do go to 8-0, now I don't know how you feel, Parlay Kid, but I think 9 and 8 makes the playoffs in the NFC. Can you imagine they're 1 win short before Halloween even hits of making the playoffs? If they go 8-0, they really.
Yeah, that's.
I know they have bigger sights set on the first round bye and everything out, winning the division, obviously. But for God's sakes, if they're 8-0 and they go 1 and 8 down the stretch, they can still make the playoffs.
That is insane. Does the extra game do that for you? I don't know. It's crazy. I think that's good for them. I'm glad to see it. Arizona.
That's what I'm looking for. I need you to say good for them. Something to acknowledge it. No. Yeah, it looks like they're right. I don't know that they'll be the top team. We're going to discuss that in a minute, who we like as the best record. But you like the Packers in this game.
I do, Sal. I think 6.5 is a lot to give Aaron Rodgers, isn't it? I really think that's a lot to give one of the all-time great quarterbacks who's still playing at such a high level. The Cardinals, we talk about due. Harry talked about the Vegas Knights. They were due for a win. Aren't the Cardinals due for a loss? I'm not saying they're going to lose, but I think this game is going to be close late. Sal, little thing here with Devontae Adams. It's a big loss, huge loss over the last 2 years. Green Bay is 6-0 without him in the lineup.
I saw that.
6-0 without him in the lineup.
One
I don't
of the
know how
wins
they
was
do
against
it without
Dallas.
him because
shut up, Eric.
What's that? What are you saying?
One of the wins was against Dallas, and
okay.
And the other 5 are against
Dallas
the Giants.
couldn't stop them.
No, Detroit.
So to me, Rodgers makes his receivers rather than the receivers makes Rodgers. Rodgers could make any of these receivers into superstars. Tanyan is just starting to heat up at the tight end spot. We've been waiting for him all year. He's finally starting to produce. They got a nice running back combination of Jones and Dillon. And if there's any area that the Cardinals struggling a little bit, it's against the run. I think we'll see a lot of run here from the Packers in this game. A lot of play action at times. 6.5 is too much to give Aaron Rodgers.
All right.
Too much. Take the points here.
All right.
Or Brett Favre.
Well, Parlay Kid, and Brother Brian, I don't know. I go 2 ways here when I'm trying to analyze what's going to go on here. I say, first of all, Green Bay, when they lose, they seem to lose big, right? Every year there's a weird loss. They'll lose by like 30 to San Francisco or something. They'll go on the road, and then they'll win like 5 in a row, right? And you try to figure out what that game is. The other thing is, I feel like when the odds are stacked against a team like this, and I talked about this on Extra Points, like, oh my God, there's so much pointing towards a Chiefs win over the Titans. They had 4 to 7 defensive backs out. The Titans did. The Titans were on a short week, blah, blah, blah. The Chiefs needed the win. And then they just went out there and laid an egg. When you look at it this way, there's so much stacked against Green Bay. Vegas and FanDuel, they're begging you to take Arizona, at least on a teaser. Maybe Green Bay does step up. I don't know how to look at it. Brother Brian, you're trying to get around all this spread nonsense. You're going with the team total over.
Yeah, I'm checking it out. I'm going with the Cardinals over 28. Like, I tend to side with Parlay Kid. I would have taken the Packers here too. I think because 6.5 is probably a little bit too many points for Rodgers. But it's so hard with the COVID impact, with the short week, with traveling.
With Harry listening to ads during the podcast.
Whatever Harry's listening to. It almost sounded like
That's not me.
It sounded like a TV show there going on.
I saw you adjusting something, Harry. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Not me.
All right.
But the Packers defense has played well, but you have to look at the offenses they've faced, right? Washington, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Detroit, New Orleans. The Bengals were probably the best offense they faced. The Cardinals are going to be a different animal. They've scored 30 or more in 6 of 7 games. They have weapons all over the field. They're going to be They're going to be fast. Packers on a short week, though, may not have enough time to prepare, especially with their D coordinator out. So I like the over here for the Cardinals. Over 20.
All right, over 28.5 is not bad. Yeah, should be a lot of scoring. All right, I will weigh in with my pick on Thursday Night Football, hoping to start a new streak there. Green Bay at Arizona, 6.5, 49.5. Now let's pick a prop for the game. I like this DeAndre Hopkins guy. Have you heard of him? He's pretty damn good. He scored in 3 straight games.
Yeah.
He scored 4 in the last 3 games. He's touchdown efficient. Not as many targets as last year, but he still has 29 in the last 4 games. And I think he's like, enough of this Jamar Chase nonsense. I feel like he's fallen out of the conversation for the top 2 receivers or 3 receivers. Not the one we hear about all the time, and we should. He still makes spectacular catches. And I think he's sitting out there at -115 to score a touchdown. Brother Bry, I think he gets it. He's one of those 4 touchdowns I think you're expecting out of the Cardinals. I think that's a good number, -115. Parlay Kid, you're taking the yards over probably for similar reasons.
Yeah, Sal. I think Brian and I lost on this prop last week with Hopkins and yards.
Screw us.
I don't think I've ever seen Hopkins catch about 7 passes for like 50-something yards. It was incredible.
Against his old team, too. Yeah, you think
against his old team, nonetheless, too. I think it's time that he stretches the field a little bit and starts averaging more yards per catch. So I have him over 64.5 yards in this game. I know they're talking about he might have a little bit of a hamstring issue going on. If he plays, I think he shines in this game on this Thursday night prime time type of game. And I think he's just due. His highest yard total this year so far has been 83, but he's really been sitting in the 60s or 70s in terms of receiving yards. I think he's just due for a big breakout game. He gets his targets. He gets his receptions. I think right now he's due for one big catch this game for 40-some plus yards. He'll go over 64.5 here, Sal.
All right. Packers, I was hoping to see something better here, but 6th in the league against the pass, and it's probably because they've played some lousy teams along the way. But I do like Hopkins. It's tough to bet against him. You have over yards. I have Hopkins to score. Brother Bry, you have a touchdown prop in there, too.
Yeah, I have James Conner to score a touchdown at +115. It used to be when the Cardinals were down by the goal line, right, that Murray probably had the best chance to score. But his running's really been limited lately, right? He's definitely trying to be a little bit more safe, stay healthy. Conner, though, has definitely become the goal line back. He has 6 rushing touchdowns in his last 5 games. When they get inside the 5, it seems like, he's getting the first shot. It seems like it's scoring here. Packers have one of the worst run defenses in the league so far. So I like the plus money here with Conner.
All right. And Harry, you have Edmonds over rushing yards?
I do, over 42.5. Brian just mentioned Green Bay not that good against the run this season. They're 22nd in the league. Edmonds is a integral part of the Cards offense. He's actually the leading rusher. He gets 5.8 yards a carry. He's averaging 57 a game. He's been over 42 5 of 7 times this season. He had 81 last week against the Texans. Give me Edmonds over 42.5.
All right, let's do first touchdown. Man, Brian, Darren, you're talking about Murray not getting the ball down low that much anymore. Conner, and just in general, Murray, I think I bet a bunch of quarterbacks under the rushing yards, right? I definitely had Josh Allen under. I don't know where Murray stacks up.
No, you
here.
Said Murray.
I said Murray too, for sure.
You said Murray under because I went Murray over.
But I don't even know.
To have nailed that one.
Is it? I don't think it's dead in the water yet, right? I mean,
it was over like 600 plus yards, Sal. I don't think he's getting there. So,
all right. Well, 43 rushing attempts this year. He does take off 6 times a game. 11 career rushing touchdowns. He scored the first 3 games of the season using his legs, not since. I think it's time we see him put in the first touchdown using his legs, rushing. Kyler Murray, 9-1 odds. That's my first touchdown pick. Harry, where are you going?
I'm going to piggyback off of Brian here with a touchdown. I'm going to take James Conner at plus 750. First touchdown. Look, 2 of the last 3 games for Green Bay, they have given up the first touchdown of the game to the opposing running backs of the team. Brian said he's got 6 touchdowns for the Cards. He's got 6 of the 9 rushing touchdowns the Cards have the season. Had the first touchdown of the game in their win against San Francisco. He's been a great free agent pickup for Arizona. Sorry, Joel, but he has. James Conner, plus 750. First touchdown.
All right. Joel, you accept Harry's apology there? All right, good. See, we're all getting along here. All right, Parlay Kid, you have one a little better odds than both Harry and I have picked.
Yeah, at first I was looking at Tanyan maybe on Green Bay. We like to go with the tight end sometimes, or Ertz with the Cardinals. I'm going with Christian Kirk here, South First TD, plus 1,300. If you've checked, his numbers are as good as Hopkins' numbers, right? They're very, very similar. He's got 4 TDs on the year, 1 each in the last 2 games at 13-1. He's pretty good value for a guy that is starting to break through a little bit.
All right. Yeah, you mentioned that you were going to go with Tanya, and I listened to Jen Piacenti and Eddie Spaghetti on Waiver Wire today. Jen points out, be careful of Tanya, be careful of the Packers tight ends or any tight end that plays Arizona. Arizona has not allowed a touchdown to a tight end this year. So good information there. Brother Brian, what are you going with?
Well, I haven't hit one since Sam Darnold ran one in. I'm struggling since then.
Remember when he was in the league?
Remember when he was good? I know. I know. I've sucked with this just as much as he has. But I'm going to go with Aaron Jones plus 700. Parlay Kid was saying here before that the Cardinals, they've given up, I think, 5 yards per carry. You could say one of the worst run defenses, although it's hard to say when teams are playing from behind against them. So I guess it's a little bit tough to say there. But I do think Jones is due for somewhat of a big game. I think they will rely on him a little bit. Washington, it was a weird game, that Washington game. They really tried to stop the run and they limited his chances. So even though, he has 6 touchdowns on the season, Jones, but he only has 1 in his last 4 games. I think that comes to an end, and I think he scores at least once here. And I think I like those odds at scoring the first one.
All right.